Have you ever noticed this? No matter how smart, how sharp your words are, some people still dismiss you. They don't listen. They don't care. And in that moment, you wonder, am I not strong enough? Maybe I need to talk louder. Maybe I need to dominate the room. But that's the mistake. We live in a world where too many believe respect belongs to the loudest voice. The truth, it doesn't. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Power is not in noise. Power is in self-control. Real strength doesn't come from shouting. It comes from silence sharpened into precision." Picture this. You walk into a tense meeting, a family argument, even just a casual chat among friends. Voices rise, heat fills the air, and then you drop one sentence, clean, sharp, precise. The room goes quiet, not because you yelled, but because your words carried weight. That is the art of calm. That is power without slamming your fist on the table. And today, I'm going to share with you 7 phrases inspired by Stoic philosophy. 7 phrases like 7 blades, small, sharp, impossible to ignore. They will help you control the moment, shift the way people see you, and most of all, earn the respect you truly deserve. Phrase number 1. That's your opinion, I respect it, but I don't share it. There's a simple truth most people forget. You can respect someone else's opinion without losing yourself. On the surface, this phrase sounds polite, but in reality, it carries incredible power. Think about it. At work, maybe a colleague keeps pushing their method, insisting it's the only way. Or at home, a family member tries to impose their beliefs, their expectations, even their life choices on you. Most of us fall into one of 2 traps. We either fight until we're exhausted, or we stay silent just to keep the peace. But both cost us our inner freedom. Instead, use this phrase. It's like drawing a soft but undeniable boundary. You don't insult them. You don't deny their right to speak. But you also don't bow your head. You don't let anyone dictate your thoughts. Seneca once warned, "Being a slave to the opinions of others is the worst kind of prison, and with this phrase you step out of that prison. Say it calmly. Look them in the eye. Your voice steady, your presence firm. In that moment you send a powerful message, I respect you, but I will not abandon myself." And that balance, respect with firmness, changes how people see you. They may not agree with you. They may not like it. But slowly, they will begin to respect you. Phrase number 2. I understand your point, but I disagree. Some phrases sound simple, but when spoken at the right moment, they can flip the entire situation. And this is one of them. Why is it so powerful? Because most arguments don't collapse from a lack of logic. They collapse from a clash of ego. The moment you say you're wrong or you don't know what you're talking about, the other person's defenses rise like a fortress. From that point on, they're not listening to you. They're only fighting to protect themselves. But when you begin with, I understand your point, you send a different signal, a quiet message that says, I hear you, I respect you. And just like that, their ego softens. Then you draw your line calmly. But I disagree. No anger, no shouting, just presence, just certainty. Picture this, you're in a meeting. Someone lays out a plan you know will fail. Most people would either stay silent or ignite conflict. But you lean forward, steady voice, calm eyes, and say, I understand your point, but I disagree. The energy shifts. People see you differently, not as reckless, not as hostile, but as independent, thoughtful, unshakable. That is stoicism in action, disagreeing without losing your peace. Real strength doesn't come from raising your volume. It comes from holding your ground with composure. Because the one who controls their voice controls the room. Phrase number 3. I don't find that appropriate. Sometimes you don't need a long speech. You don't need to argue. Just 5 words, I don't find that appropriate. Short, calm, but sharp as steel. Think back. How many times have you forced a nervous laugh at an offensive joke? How many times have you stayed silent when someone crossed the line just to keep the peace? And what happens then? Your silence becomes permission. It tells them, keep going. It's fine. But in truth, you just allowed yourself to be disrespected. That's why this phrase matters. I don't find that appropriate is a shield for your dignity. No anger, no lecture. Just 5 words, firm and steady, that can shift the entire room. Picture it. A dinner table. Someone cracks a cruel joke expecting you to smile along. Instead, you pause. You look them in the eye. And you say, I don't find that appropriate. The air changes. The laughter dies. And suddenly they realize you are not someone to be taken lightly. Seneca once wrote, he who respects himself will be respected by others. When you defend your own value, you're not just protecting yourself, you're giving everyone around you permission to do the same. That is the power of self-respect. An invisible shield. No threats, no noise, yet strong enough to make the whole world listen. Phrase number 4. Let's focus on what we can control. Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher, once reminded us, we cannot control external events. We can only control our response. And in that spirit, this phrase becomes a compass for every conversation. Let's focus on what we can control. Picture this. A tense meeting. Voices rising, fingers pointing, blame flying from one side of the table to the other, emotions boiling over. Most people react in one of 2 ways. They defend themselves, or they strike back. But not you. You pause. You breathe. And with calm authority you say, let's focus on what we can control. 6 words, and everything shifts. From chaos to clarity. From blame to solutions. That's what makes this phrase so powerful. It pulls people out of the storm of emotion and back into reality. It showed that you're not lost in the noise. You're the one guiding the room. Not just a participant in the argument, but a leader in silence. And life works the same way. How much time have you wasted complaining about the weather, about criticism, about decisions you could never control? All that energy, gone. But the moment you shift your focus to what you can change, you gain peace, you gain clarity, and you gain real strength. That is Stoicism in action. Not chasing chaos, but mastering yourself. And sometimes one simple phrase, let's focus on what we can control, is enough to change not just a conversation, but the way you face life itself. Phrase number 5. Let's talk when we can do so respectfully. You know those moments when a conversation stops being a conversation. Voices get louder. Interruptions cut in. Every word becomes a weapon. Most of us fall into 2 traps. We either match the anger or we retreat in silence, feeling defeated. But there's a third option. The option of composure. The option of control. And it lives in one phrase. Let's talk when we can do so respectfully. Picture this. A meeting. A coworker cuts you off again and again. Their tone sharp, their goal to dominate. Most people would lose their cool trying to shout their way back in. But not you. You keep your voice slow, your gaze steady, and you say, let's talk when we can do so respectfully. The room shifts. Silence falls. because the message is crystal clear. You're open to dialogue, but you will not accept disrespect. That is Stoicism in action. Epictetus taught, you cannot control the actions of others, but you can control your response. And with this phrase, you take back control. You refuse to play by the rules of chaos. You set new rules, rules of calm and respect. The effect is powerful. People start listening to you more carefully, not because you raised your voice, but because you became the calm center of the storm. And when the storm rages around you, it's composure, not volume, that earns true respect. Phrase number 6. I don't want to continue this conversation. There are conversations you know, from the very beginning, will lead nowhere. Not because logic is missing, but because the other person isn't searching for truth. They're searching for victory. They circle the same argument over and over, pulling you into a battle that has no meaning. And in that moment, this phrase becomes your escape key. I don't want to continue this conversation. Picture it. Someone traps you in a never-ending argument. Every time you answer, they repeat the same line, draining your energy. Instead of chasing them in circles, you stop. You breathe. And calmly you say, I don't want to continue this conversation. The door closes. Not out of fear, not out of weakness, but out of wisdom, out of strength. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, the best revenge is not to be like your enemy. When you walk away, you refuse to mirror their anger, their stubbornness. You choose peace instead. And in that choice lies incredible power. Here's what most people forget. You are not obligated to finish every argument. You don't need to prove yourself in every fight. True power is knowing when to step away, when to protect your time, your mind, your energy. Walking away is not weakness. It is strength. It is clarity. It is self-respect. And sometimes 30 seconds of silence after this phrase is worth more than 3 hours of arguing. Phrase number 7. I choose peace over winning this argument. There's something we often forget in the heat of conflict. Sometimes victory isn't about crushing the other side. It's about keeping your peace of mind. And that's the power of this phrase, I choose peace over winning this argument. This is not avoidance. It's not surrender. It's a declaration, a statement that your inner calm and your dignity are worth more than the ego's need to win a need that only drains energy and breeds resentment. Picture it. A heated family argument. Voices rising, faces tightening, every word aimed at proving who's right, who's wrong. And then you stop. You breathe. You look straight ahead and say, I choose peace over winning this argument. The atmosphere changes. Suddenly, everyone is reminded the relationship matters more than the scoreboard. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, you have power over your mind, not outside events. And by choosing peace, you're living that truth. You show that you're not controlled by someone else's anger. You're in control of yourself. And here's the beauty of it, that composure makes you more respected, more trusted. Anyone can raise their voice to defend their ego, but only the truly strong have the courage to say, I choose peace. Have you noticed this? The simplest phrases can completely change how people see you. And here's why they all share 3 core powers. First, they separate emotion from reaction. When someone gets angry, they want you to get angry too. They want the fight to escalate. But when you stay calm, when you answer with clarity instead of rage, you break the script they expected. You're no longer being pulled. You're the one in control. Second, they set boundaries. Every time you say, "I don't find that appropriate," or "let's talk when we can do so respectfully," you're teaching others how they can and cannot treat you. It's not just a phrase. It's a silent lesson you deliver to the world. Third, they project self-respect. And the truth is, this self-respect always comes before respect from others. Seneca once said, "He who respects himself will be respected by others." The moment you set your own value, the world has no choice but to meet you there. And here lies the Stoic paradox. The less you demand respect, the more you receive it. Because true respect doesn't come from begging or forcing. It comes from the way you show up calm, clear, steady, like a mountain. These phrases are more than tools for conversation. They are reminders. Reminders that real power doesn't start with the crowd. It starts within you. The best part about these phrases is that they're not just theory. They're not pretty quotes to hang on a wall. They are real tools. Tools you can carry with you and use every single day. At work, remember, this passive silence often makes people think you lack conviction. But when you replace that silence with calm, steady words, you're seen differently. No longer the outsider, but a person with a voice. Someone colleagues and even your boss can rely on. In personal relationships, these phrases become a bridge between love and self-respect. Because love only lasts when both sides honor boundaries. Sometimes a simple line, "I understand your point, but I disagree," is enough to stop an argument from turning into a scar. On social media, the battlefield of endless opinions, you don't need to waste hours debating with strangers. Sometimes just one sentence. "That's your opinion, I respect it, but I don't share it," is all it takes to end the fight and protect your energy. And even with strangers, composure and firmness change everything. You don't need to shout. You don't need to prove yourself. Just standing steady, speaking clearly sends a powerful message. You don't control me. I control me. And finally, remember this. These phrases are not just words. They are shields. Shields that protect your peace, your dignity, and your inner strength in every situation. Here's what I want you to remember from this video. Strength doesn't always come from noise or show. Sometimes it's wrapped inside simple, calm words. Words that carry the weight of self-respect. Because respect cannot be forced. You can't scream your way into being valued. Real respect only comes when you live with character, with composure, with conviction. When you control your voice, you control the room. And when you control your mind, you control your life. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Your character becomes your destiny. It shapes how the world treats you. That's why calm words carry such power. They don't just shift a conversation. They shift the way people see you and the way they act toward you." So here's my challenge for you this week. Pick one of the 7 phrases we explored. Use it in a conversation, in a debate, in a moment where you need to draw the line. And then come back here and leave a simple comment. I choose respect. And if this video inspired you, make sure to subscribe and hit that bell. Because this is where we turn philosophy into practice, so that each day you don't just live calmer, you live stronger, you live freer,